Hello everybody, how are you? Good morning and welcome to another segment of Coffee and Connections with the Chief. I'm Chief Dean Rondeau and to my left is my Executive Officer, Captain Mark Livy. The first thing you're probably going to notice when you're looking at me is, yes, I do have a beard. We changed the uniform policy a few months ago on uniforms and appearance. It was approved by the Wolfeboro Police Commission, and you'll see some of our officers out there now sporting various types of beards. I thought I'd show a little bit of solidarity with the officers and try to grow my beard out. This would be the first time that I've ever had a beard. Actually, I like it a lot. I'm learning a lot. I've never had to maintain a beard before, but so it's a work in progress. So yeah, no, that's quite all right. That's quite all right. You know, I'm the comic relief on this team, and but in any event, so that's a big change, and you know, it speaks to the flexibility of the Wolfeboro Police Department and Wolfeboro Police Commission. And beards and tattoos right now are huge with the millennial generation, and it's very important to them. And in this era of dwindling personnel, and we want to be an all-inclusive organization that isn't so stuck in the old ways. So this was a long thought about decision that came about after about 3 months of discussion and thought and looking at various policies. And right now, I think it's very good. And a nice segue into the second part of this is that even though we had one retirement last month, that was Corporal Jason Boucher, who's retired after approximately 21 years in police service, who's now staying on to be our juvenile services officer. That was approved last month at a commission meeting in a part-time capacity, which we're very grateful for. Very experienced police officer. We have replaced him with Joe Oswald from Rochester PD, a very, very experienced police officer. We're very happy and proud to have young Joe, former infantryman from the United States Army, a graduate of the Florida Police Academy, the Florida State Police Academy, as well as the New Hampshire Police Academy, and also approximately 4-year veteran of Rochester PD, and also possesses the life-saving medal. So very good pick. And so if you see young Joe, he's off of FTO now. He breezed through that without any effort at all. Very experienced police officer, very nice young man. He's going to make an excellent addition to the Wolfeboro Police Department. We are now full strength, and Joe sought us out. Joe came to us, and I think one of the reasons why Joe came to us is, you know, word of mouth on the street, and the fact that we do have progressive policies, and we are not afraid to change. We're not afraid to look at change. We're not afraid to embrace change as an organization, and to adopt new theories and thoughts, and at least give it a shot, see how it works out. So having said all that, we are at full strength, which is really good. There's a lot of police organizations around the state of New Hampshire and elsewhere are not at full strength. They're having a very hard time finding qualified recruits and candidates. And once they do find what they think are qualified recruits and candidates, they're not making it through the academy. And like I said before, the academy is very daunting in and of itself. And then once you pass the academy, then you've got to pass your field training program. And we're seeing a lot of candidates get washed out in other agencies' field training programs. And that's really unfortunate, because putting somebody through the academy is a huge investment in time and resources, only to have them wash out in your own agency's FTO program. That's really too bad, but it does happen. And it speaks to the fact that a lot of police departments are really having a hard time filling their vacancies. We are not. We have them honestly wanting to come to Wolfeboro PD, and that's a good thing. It tells me that we're doing it right. Having said that, I will just tell you briefly in a strategic overview, we've been very, very busy this year. We've had quite a few major cases. We are making a lot of arrests, and it just shows, I think, just how busy and how many people have really come to Wolfeboro in the better part of the last 2 years, seeking refuge from COVID-19 and wanting to get out of the major population centers. And I don't see that trend reversing itself, certainly anytime soon. And I think with the advent of technology and video conferencing and the ability to use GoToMeetings or some other video meeting platform, businesses are really turning around and saying, look, we don't need these big brick and mortar facilities anymore, and people are able to work from home and to maybe attend a virtual board meeting or travel to New York City or Pennsylvania or Boston or wherever to attend a board meeting and then spend a few days catching up on things and flying back home. And I think that's a trend that we're going to see for the foreseeable future. So what does that really mean? I think strategically, over the next few years, look for the population density of rural resort communities like Wolfeboro and along the East Coast to really blossom. I think they're really going to explode in population. We'll see if I'm prophetic in this, but I think people are finding out that they can live and work where they want to in terms of picking a location like Wolfeboro or Kennebunkport, Maine, or Algonquin or some other bucolic area and working from home and live and work where they vacation, which is really, I think, a smart move for a lot of people. It certainly helps reduce stress. Talking about reducing stress, the kids will be going back to school on the 7th. The 7th of September, the kids are going back to school right after Labor Day. All right, so that's the other thing you got coming up. You got the big Labor Day weekend. So what does that mean for Wolfeboro? Well, it means we know Labor Day weekend we get really, really busy. Right, this is going to be it's going to be a beautiful weekend. There's going to be a lot of boat traffic. There's a lot of people getting in the last vestiges of their summer vacations. This is really the last big weekend or second to last big weekend for the summer. And the other one I want to talk about is Columbus Day. That weekend, that's also the weekend of the Sandwich Fair. So if you're in and around the Sandwich area, you want to get up to that. That's a great venue. That's the last of the big summer fairs for New Hampshire. So take that in. So those are the things you got coming up, essentially this month and getting ready for October. But make sure that you plan on the children going back to school, which means that the school buses and the kids walking along the roadway, and you've had a whole summer of not having to worry about that. Now you got to plan for a little bit extra time, right? And I know you never get ahead, right? It's always the tourists in the middle of summer, and now the kids going back to school. So make sure you leave in plenty of time. You know, if you're driving South Main Street, you're going to hit the Carpenter School. There's going to be crossing guards out there and police officers and blue lights. We're slowing the traffic down for the kids to make sure it's safe. So make sure you pay attention to the children going to and from school, and you've got school buses. When the school bus stop sign arm is out, please, that means stop. That means stop. Don't go around it. You're likely to hit somebody. You're going to end up hitting somebody, either another automobile or a child. You don't want that. And you don't need to be going very fast to seriously injure a child or cause a fatality. You really don't. Less than 30 miles an hour. So that stop arm is there for your safety as well as everybody else's. Stop, okay? And if the school bus driver gets your license plate, I'll tell you right now, that is a per se violation. It means that's all we have to show. All right, so you're not going to be successful fighting that one in court. All right, so please stop. Also, be advised, right? There are cameras now everywhere along the roads. The school buses have cameras. The stop arms have cameras. Just about every business and residence has cameras. With Ring and Nest and all these others. So there's plenty of video cameras out there. So please, just pay attention to what you're doing. Stop. Let the children discharge. The bus driver will eventually pull over. They'll pull over and let the traffic go by, and they'll continue on their route. So just be patient, all right? And you're not going to, trust me, I can do the math for you. You're not going to get there any earlier, all right? So just relax. Leave a few minutes earlier, and you'll be fine. Beyond that, I'm going to turn it over to Captain for a quick update. But before I do that, the last thing I want to let you know is that we've been heavy in the budget construction for fiscal year 22. So we've got a few slight increases as we do every year, but I'm not anticipating any major expenses this year for the Wolfeboro Police Department. The Tesla vehicle that we received via donation is working out brilliantly. And that's going to save us the purchase cost of a new vehicle. I was planning on purchasing a new vehicle this year, but we received that Tesla donation that brought us up to the requisite number of vehicles I was looking for. I've always said 11 vehicles is just right, 10 is too few, 12 is too many. So we're right at the correct number. Things are going very well for the Wolfeboro PD. I'm very happy. Our fiscal year 21 budget execution has been going along flawlessly. If you've been following along in the police commission meetings, you'll see that in the July, I gave the mid-year brief on our goals and objectives and where we are in the budget, and everything is looking very good. So having said that, I'm going to turn it over to the captain now. Captain?
Yeah, thanks, Chief. Yeah, as he mentioned, and we haven't briefed it too much, is the new Tesla that I get to drive, which is a treat every day. And I'd like to thank the donor for their donation on that. It's a great vehicle for especially how we're using it for right now, because it's early in the stages of trying to figure out how this vehicle can be used in a police department. So Tesla's new, electric vehicle is new, there's no fuel, there's no gas, few components to the vehicle. So we're trying to figure all that out and what's the best use for it. And right now it's actually doing very well in the position where it is with me, which I'm very happy, as an administrator, and I still do cover some shifts. So, and we do have a meter on there, and the early estimates that I do have for the month of July, the cost for the electric charging at the police department is about $33 for the month. So that's not a week, that is a month. So that's pretty good. I pretty much charge it almost every week, how we're going right now, sometimes twice a week, depending on the shifts I do cover here and there. So it is actually going great. If anyone wants to see it, please come on down to the police department, see it. I'll give you a little tour of the inside of the car if you haven't seen a Tesla. It's pretty remarkable on the technology that it actually has. It's pretty advanced on that. So I'm pretty excited for it, and the department pretty likes it. I mean, it's doing well. So with the Tesla, so we'll move on to the officers. He says Joseph Oswald's doing a great job. He's back into the patrol shift, so we're full staff, especially at the end of August there in the summer. Going into September is a great thing to have. So the patrol is full staff, dispatch is full staff. We're always looking for part-timers. So part-time dispatch, part-time patrol. If you want to put your application in, please, with dispatch, please get with Supervisor Mia Lyons. You can check our Facebook and website for her email address. And if you have an officer that's out there, we're kind of looking for certified, but hey, you never know what you can find out there for somebody that wants to change careers or have a little extra on their plate and maybe go out and come into a part-time position with the department as an officer. So if you want to put your application in, you can email myself or the chief. You can get the email right on our website or our Facebook page. So with that said, we have the highway safety grants. They are ending on September 15th of this year. They will restart up because the state's fiscal year is October to October. So October 1st will start off the next year's state grants that come in for highway safety, which is your driving DWIs, driving while after intoxication, sorry about that. Speed, distractive driving, which I am seeing a lot more as nobody understands that the Tesla is actually a police car, so they don't realize what's next to them or in front of them or behind them. So be careful out there. Do not use an electronic device while you're operating a vehicle. It can get costly. It changes your first offense to second offense to third offense to fourth offense. It keeps going up. I think it's about $200 each time. The state has that right now. So please do not use an electronic device while operating your vehicle out there. It's just the distraction could cost a lot. So with that said, dispatch, as we said, is full staff, always looking for part-time. Their call volume, they're very busy this summer as we're finishing August. The calls are really this summer, the arrests and unfortunately, the arrests are up. And the call volume this summer is, there's a lot of people in this town this year. And we mentioned that going into this summer, that there was going to be a lot of people. Last year was a COVID year. So no matter what, seeing people in town was going to seem like a lot of people. And to be honest, I think there's a lot more people than we had in the past come up here during the summer months. Just look at the restaurants, how they're packed. It's about an hour and a half wait. So they're doing the best they can in this town with all the people that we do have around here. So it's been a great summer. Off and on weather. It's been a lot of rain, unfortunately, but hopefully when we get into September, which is a beautiful month with weather, it's just perfect, I think. So, but with that said, I don't have too much more to go on. But again, if you want to see the Tesla, please come on down. I'll give you a nice little tour of it, see what you have, see what we have inside of it, see how the upfitting came across. Just remember that was a full donation, no tax money used to equip the electronics, the computers that are all in there, and the charging station that's at the PD. So I'll give it to the chief.
Sounds good. Lastly, my favorite holiday is coming up. That's Halloween, 31 October. Yes, I know it's still 2 months out, but it's coming up. And the captain hit the nail on the head. The temperatures are going to start getting cooler and really enjoyable. This is actually September-October timeframe. I think is very enjoyable time here in Wolfeboro. So if you're watching this from distant locations, come on up to Wolfeboro for September-October. Enjoy the fall foliage, and and clearly the first 2 to 3 weeks of September is perfect beach weather. So stay tuned for your safety tip of the month. In the meantime, please join us next month for the month of October for another segment of Coffee and Connections with the Chief. Thank you very much for tuning in, and be safe, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye. And hi, everybody. Welcome back to Coffee and Connections with the Chief. I'm Chief Dean Rondo, and to my right, we have Brecklin, and to my left, we have Lenny. They're from Haverhill, Mass. If you're not from Haverhill, Mass, you're going to pronounce it Haverhill. Okay, that's a joke. I saw that on Facebook. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure it gets funny every time you hear that, right? Yes. I'm sorry. Okay, all right. Enough with the dumb dad jokes. So they have a few questions they want to ask. I'm going to turn it over to Brecklin first, and then we'll go to Lenny. Brecklin, here you go. Which question, young man?
I don't really have many, honestly.
Well, you had asked a question earlier about
how's a crime? Like, is there any crimes?
Oh, yeah. So that's a great question, and that's one I get asked all the time. Clearly, we live in a very bucolic area. Wolfeboro is very beautiful, but yes, we do have actually a fairly substantial population here year-round. It's grown over the last couple of years, principally due to folks wanting to escape the COVID-19 hotspots like New York and Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, Boston, so forth and so on. So they came up to their second and third homes, and so we saw that spike in population density. But just like every other major city in the United States, we have the same types of crime per capita of the population. And that figures, right? Because Wolfeboro is nothing more than a microcosm of society in general. So yes, we do have all the same types of crime, but we have it per capita of the population. So same types of crime, but much lower frequency, if you will. Yes, it is good. And every once in a while, we are faced with with a challenge. We have had some major cases this year, major felony cases that we take to the county attorney's office. So we've been busy, actually. Sir, what's your question?
Well, with Labor Day coming up, I was just wondering if you patrol the lake any differently during that time of the year?
So that's a great question as well. So obviously like any major holiday, Labor Day or Christmas or Columbus Day, whatever, we have extra shifts on, we have extra personnel on. Yes, the lake is patrolled, not necessarily by us, although we do have jurisdiction on the water. It's patrolled by Fish and Game and Marine Patrol. They have more boats than I do. So yes, the lake is patrolled heavily, and extra police resources are put on. But just like any other holiday, we put extra shifts on. We also have what a lot of people don't know is we take advantage of federal grants that come to us through the National Highway Safety Institute as well as New Hampshire Highway Safety. And this is federal money that allows us to put extra patrols on at no cost to the citizens here in Wolfeboro, and essentially the federal government is paying for this. And we will enforce the DWI laws and the speed laws and distracted driving and so forth and so on. So we have extra patrols. Some of those are mandated by the federal government. Others are at my discretion, and I put them on where I deem appropriate. But yes, we do have extra patrols on. It's a great question. I'm glad you mentioned that. So if you're out there, you got to be careful, because I'm not the only one doing it. The state police are doing it. The county sheriffs are doing it. Other municipalities are doing it. There's a lot of police presence on these very busy summer weekends, these long weekends, especially getting toward the end of the year. So you can expect it on Labor Day. You can certainly expect it on Columbus Day. Any other questions?
With COVID ramping back up, do you think we're going to be back into the mask mandates over here again?
That's a great question, and I just simply don't know. Let me tell you what I have essentially learned, if you will, from, and of course my wife, interestingly enough, is the town's health officer, and she's a registered nurse, and she's a former Army nurse, so she's spent a lot of time studying COVID-19 and other viruses and communicable diseases. In fact, she worked for the longest period of time when I was stationed out at Fort Huachuca, Arizona, back in the late 80s, early 90s. She was assigned to Cochise County Health Department. This is exactly what she did when she was out there. The very thing that made us very successful here, number one, is we were forward-looking in dealing with the COVID-19. We stood up our emergency operations center. We got everybody dialed in very quickly. And I think Wolfeboro was unique in the fact that we were very prepared. We set up our alternate care facility just to make sure we had enough beds in case a town-wide pandemic did ensue. COVID did hit us, but it hit us very slowly. And I think one of the reasons for that is, one, we took the right precautions, but two, New Hampshire by and large, and Wolfeboro in particular, is very rural. And we don't have the population densities that you would see in, say, Haverhill or Boston or Cambridge or Philadelphia or some of the other major cities. So it seems that COVID-19 has difficulty in rural areas, and it has difficulty getting a foothold. A lot of our contacts, or a lot of our folks that came down with COVID-19, actually got it going to large venues outside the state of New Hampshire or outside the town of Wolfeboro, or they had a family contact that went to, say, a basketball game or some other venue in a distant location outside of Wolfeboro. That's what we saw. Not in every situation, but in most. So we were very fortunate. So I don't know. I do know that the Delta variant is reported to be very contagious. It does affect those primarily who have not been vaccinated. I have been vaccinated against it. I listen to the science. I think that vaccinate, but I know that's a personal choice folks have to make. So here's what I think. I think if you've been vaccinated, and if it was at the very beginning, like I was vaccinated in early or late January, early February, I will get a booster shot, right? The CDC just said that's probably a good idea. I will do that. If you haven't been vaccinated, you probably want to get vaccinated. That's what I think. So I do believe that COVID-19 is diminishing. I believe it's waning, but I just don't know if it's going to result in another mask mandate. I just don't know.
Right. No, I just don't want to see, places, businesses start shutting their doors or having, they've been through a lot already, and I just feel as though I don't want to see them have to go through that again. So mask mandates, fine. I mean, if they do that, that's, I think that's okay. But I just don't want to see, them shutting places down again.
I think everybody feels the same way you do, sir. I'd be quite honest with you.
So, how many things have been shut down and like all that? Do you think that the jobs will pick up or drop? Do you think it'll like pick up, like the jobs, like people go back into the jobs,
sure.
or?
Yeah, no, I do. I think we're seeing that now. I mean, we have the businesses are screaming for help right now. The businesses are screaming for help, and so yes, I think and like everything else, this is an opportunity. That's a great question. Businesses are screaming for help, and this is really an opportunity. I think a lot of good things, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on your frame of reference, have come out of this because of we had to be innovative in how we got through this. And what I mean by this is extra seating and online ordering, so this is a real opportunity for businesses to take advantage of a lot of the things that we utilized to help us get through COVID-19, and I hope that a lot of these things don't change. Obviously, I think everybody's tired of wearing a mask, right? And I don't think anybody wants to see society shut down again or go on a lockdown. I don't think anybody wants to see that. Now, obviously, being the chief of police, none of this is my call. We look to the governor's office to really set the priorities as to what we're going to do, and we just simply follow rule of law, right? I mean, that's really what we do. But I think there's a lot of good things that did come out of this, and we built up certainly a little bit of resiliency. And do I think COVID-19 is dangerous? Yes, I do. But I think we'll also get through it. Folks, I think that's just about it. Unless anybody has any other questions.
No, I'm good.
All right, sounds good. Well, I want to thank you. I want to thank you too for being my guest on Coffee and Connections with the Chief. And if you want to be on Coffee and Connections with the Chief, just contact my office or contact Tim at Wolfeboro Community TV. And come on down. We can talk about the Patriots. We can talk about the Red Sox. We can talk about the finer points of political philosophy. We could talk about Hobbes and Rousseau. Or we could talk about contemporary issues of the day, whatever you want to talk about. So please be my guest on Coffee and Connections with the Chief. Until next time, until the month of October, stay safe, everybody, and thank you for dialing in. Have a great day. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Chief Rondo with the Wolfeboro PD, and here's your safety tip of the month. We're into the month of September. Kids are going back to school on 7 September. That means school buses on the roadways, kids crossing the streets. They'll be crossing with the crosswalks, and yes, they will be crossing not in crosswalks. Children bicycling on their way to school. We do the big walk and ride to school day during the early fall. All these things are going on. What does it mean? It means that the roads are busy, they're congested, people are going about their busy lives. The 2020 census is out. Wolfeboro increased in population density. Take a look at those numbers. In the meantime, be safe out there. Just remember, you've got a lot of traffic. You've got a lot of folks on the roadway. You've got a lot of children out and about. You're coming off of the summer when you weren't really looking for the kids crossing and the school guards. And if you're not familiar with Wolfeboro, please pay attention, right? We have school crossings in a couple of different locations on South Main Street and other locations. Just be careful, right? Go slow and leave a little bit of time, extra time before work to get to your final destination. Thank you very much for tuning in to Coffee and Connections with the Chief. I'm Chief Dean Rondo, and that was your safety tip of the month. See you in October. Bye-bye.